Welcome to the Chicken Coop Studio. My name is Kyle Martin, and I'm excited to share with you today's video. Art Treehouse was kind enough to gift me a box of supplies, and in today's video, I'm going to open the box of supplies up, and I'm going to share with you a little bit about their company and why I choose to use their supplies for my solvent-free painting practice. Turpentine has traditionally been a solvent that oil painters have used to clean their brushes and also to create more flow to the paint, especially during the initial sketch on the canvas. Turpentine, real turpentine, the stuff that was used hundreds of years ago, was made from natural materials. However, now it's primarily a petroleum product, meaning that it's something similar to gasoline that goes into your car. And turpentine works very well for painting. Odorless mineral spirits is a more modern formulation that painters have used to clean their brushes. So I'll use the terms turpentine and odorless mineral spirits interchangeably in this video. They both kind of refer to roughly the same thing. I know the purists out there are going to realize that real turpentine can dissolve Damar crystals for making mediums for oil painting, and odorless mineral spirits cannot. However, for today's video, I want to talk mainly about just cleaning your brushes while you're painting, swishing them out between applying colors, and also for the initial sketch on the canvas. Oil paint right out of the tube is very thick, and it's not fluid at all. And while oil paint is lovely for those thick qualities, when you're starting on a canvas, it's nice to have a fluid consistency to the paint to create a gestural drawing. That's where artists for centuries have been using turpentine, or more recently, odorless mineral spirits. They'll use a little bit of it mixed in with the paint to get the painting started. And from there, as the painting develops, they'll use less and less of the turpentine with the paint and transition into using medium mixed with the paint or just pure oil paint. The problem with solvents like turpentine and odorless mineral spirits, the reason that turpentine or mineral spirits is so nice to use during this initial application of paint is that it evaporates very quickly and it leaves just the paint, but it kind of sets up or dries after a short period of time. Whereas oil paint takes several days to dry. Turpentine-rich layers of paint dry through evaporation, and oil paint dries through oxidation. So you can see that turpentine is a very nice thing to use to get the painting started. However, it's evaporating, and anybody who's using a solvent such as turpentine or odorless mineral spirits is inhaling some amount of toxins from those chemicals. And 4 years ago, I transitioned into a solvent-free painting practice, meaning I no longer use any harsh solvents such as odorless mineral spirits or turpentine when I'm painting. There's a couple experiences that led me to explore a solvent-free painting practice. I was coming home one evening from a plein air painting festival in Cedarburg, Wisconsin, and as I was driving home, the container that contained my turpentine spilled in the back of my vehicle, and I didn't realize that this had happened. Well, as I continued to drive on this hot summer day, the turpentine was evaporating and I was inhaling a bunch of it, and I got lightheaded and I had to pull the car over. And even though I was able to clean up the turpentine that had spilled, that odor remained in my car, and it was a very unpleasant evening of driving because of that. Remember when Jim Carrey played Ace Ventura and his windshield was smashed out in Pet Detective and he was driving with his head out the window? That's kind of the way that I had to drive home on that evening. My head wasn't actually out the window, but it was pretty close to it at all times. Another time I was painting over at my friend Jim's house, and this was several years ago, and we were painting a still life after we had breakfast together. And as we were nearing the end of our still life painting session, we looked at each other and we thought, we're really lightheaded. We need to get into some fresh air. And I'm sure that I've had a lot more experiences than that using those harsh and heavy solvents, but those are just two that I wanted to talk about with you. This stuff is cumulative. The more you're working around heavy solvents like this, the more it builds up in your system, or it can present health risks for you. I'm thinking not only of myself, but I have my family, I have Corbin, and we're blessed with our daughter Violet, and so I'm just trying to keep my family safe. I'm trying to keep myself safe. That's just my views on it. I know a lot of people do work with solvents like turpentine without any problem, but for me, those are a couple of the reasons that I wanted to explore a solvent-free painting practice. And Art Treehouse fits right into it. And the background from Art Treehouse comes from two ideas. Number one, they believe in artists, and they believe that every artist should have the option to pursue a solvent-free painting practice if they choose to. Some odorless products are still toxic even though you can't smell them. There's odorless mineral spirits. Well, that definitely has a smell, even though it's called odorless. Paint thinner, extremely toxic to inhale. And then there's a product called terpenoid, which is supposed to be a cleaner solvent. I've used all that stuff. Like most artists, I've experimented with nearly every art material that's on the market. I've found that over the years, I am sensitive to most of those products. And the second thing is that Art Treehouse is founded on the idea that the world of art materials is huge and it can be confusing, and they wanted to simplify that system. And for me, that's nice because Art Treehouse is my one-stop shop for any time that I'm thinking of purchasing a solvent, be it brush cleaner, solvent, or a medium. So as you can see, my thoughts on a solvent-free painting practice align perfectly with that of Art Treehouse. And I will say that the owner of Art Treehouse actually took it a step further. When I first ordered a can of solvent from them, he hand delivered it to me. I met him in Madison. This was during the COVID scare, and he delivered it to me, and he didn't charge me shipping, and he took time out of his day to come and talk with me and meet with me and deliver the products to me. So that was really cool. So let's get into this. Let's open the box up and see what he sent me. First of all, here's their logo here, and I love the idea of a Art Treehouse. You know, it just reminds me of a summer day. You've been spending time outdoors all day maybe, and you're just climbing up into your treehouse with your canvas and your art materials, and you're enjoying the afternoon. So this says, the Art Treehouse thanks you. Our goal is to provide the very best materials for artists to use while avoiding the toxins that are in so many paints and mediums. Please know that we fully back whatever we sell, and if you're not 100% happy with what is in this box, please let us know and we'll make it right. That's really cool. Just another little aside about our packing peanuts. They're certified compostable. So I'm gonna just throw these packing peanuts in my compost bin once I'm done with this unboxing. And here we have what are bio-based art materials. Here's a little card that he included. The term bio-based generally refers to a product that is made in whole or in significant part from renewable agricultural sources, such as plant, animal, and marine materials, rather than petroleum sources. Coming from farms and forests, bio-based products have a distinct advantage in terms of biodegradability, sustainability, toxicity, and pollution. Oil of Spike Lavender, water-washed walnut and flax oil, rosemary oil, Canadian balsam, beeswax, damar and copal, and of course oil of clove are all bio-based artist materials, and Art Treehouse specializes in all of those materials. Historically, before the introduction of petroleum solvents into the art world, all art materials were bio-based. Globally, we're now coming full circle back to the bio-based materials because of their superior safety for both artists and the environment. That's a good point. When oil painting started, turpentine was a natural product. However, oil and petroleum, such a commodity these days, it's used in so many things, the manufacture of plastic and gasoline, and now that has even taken over as well because it is a good cleanup agent for things like oil-based paint. However, it's just not healthy for us to breathe in. Here's some safety data for Spike Lavender. Spike Lavender is made with no addition or dilution with fossil fuel. So Spike Lavender is totally natural, and I think that he's included some in here. Let's see what's in here. We've got plenty of those compostable packing peanuts. This packaging material feels, this is a paper material, but it is kind of like packing peanuts. So the attention to detail is really good there. Here we have some oil of Spike Lavender, and I'm just going to crack this because this is one of my favorite. I just love that smell of lavender. So this is a complete replacement for turpentine But let me tell you a little bit more about it. So ways to use oil of Spike Lavender. Number 1, mix with linseed or walnut oil and tube paints for a smoother brush flow. Use only a drop at a time. Number 2, use with a Q-tip to erase mistakes. Even mistakes that have dried can generally be removed. Number 3, mix with burnt sienna or umber for an underpainting. If you use a small amount of pigment with spike oil, the spike oil will evaporate, leaving your underpainting with the tooth of the canvas intact. It's kind of like for a imprimatura. Number 4, dissolve Damar crystals. Find a glass jar and put a couple teaspoons of Damar crystals into it. Cover the crystals with oil of Spike Lavender. Depending on the size of the crystals, they will dissolve in a week or two. It may help to hammer them into a powder before starting. Be sure to close the jar with a lid. That's where this is such a great material, because what he's talking about is you can create a traditional oil painting medium with oil of Spike Lavender. There's 3 parts to the traditional oil painting medium: linseed oil, Damar crystal, and in this case, oil of Spike Lavender. Odorless mineral spirits, such as Gamsol, will not dissolve Damar crystals. So with this product, you can make that traditional oil painting medium if you're interested to use that. Number 5, ground color, imprimatura. This provides a painter with a transparent toned ground, which will allow light falling onto the painting to reflect through the paint layers. In the classical use of this approach, the middle tone of the imprimatura unifies the painting and allows the painter to judge highlights and shadows. Use only as much as necessary to establish the tone. Number 6, rescue brushes. If you have a brush with dried paint on it, soak it in oil of Spike Lavender. Preferably not tip down, as this will bend the tip of the brush. Try laying the brush on its side at an angle with the brush hair resting in a spoonful of oil. So this stuff will reconstitute dried brushes. Number 7, this is a direct replacement for turpentine. However, as with all art materials that evaporate into the air, oil of Spike Lavender should be used with adequate ventilation, even though OSHA does not set a limit for it. So this does have quite a strong smell, and depending on if you're sensitive to strong smells like essential oils, this may not be the product for you. But for me, I actually enjoy the smell of this, and I definitely enjoy the smell of lavender in my studio over the harsh chemical smell of odorless mineral spirits. Since he mentioned OSHA here, I'm just going to say Gamsol was found by OSHA to be a cosmetic grade odorless mineral spirits. Gamsol is a product that many painters enjoy using, and I used that product for years. However, I'm sensitive even to the use of Gamsol, and OSHA found that people could work around open containers of Gamsol all day while showing no elevation in levels of the inhalants associated with odorless mineral spirits. While I do believe that that is true, I do think that a natural product is a better choice for me and my family. Used in making varnish. Number 8, varnish is traditionally a combination of a drying oil, a resin, and a thinner or solvent. We have several musical instrument makers who use our oil of Spike Lavender. Number 9, adhesion to lower levels of paint. Some painters do a quick wipe of oil of Spike Lavender over the previous layer of paint to give it tooth and better adhesion for the newly applied layer of paint. Number 10, enjoy the scent. And imagine yourself painting with Van Eyck, David, Roger van den Weyden, and Hals Memling in the 1400s. The alchemists of the 1400s, the first people who invented oil painting, were using this. Their paintings still exist today. That's good enough for me. Thank you so much. 8 ounces of oil of Spike Lavender. That's gonna hold me up for quite a while. Here we've got this is a nozzle lid. I think that probably goes on the oil of Spike Lavender. Let's give it a shot. Oh, that's kind of nice. So I have this little nozzle lid so I could just squirt out drop by drop if needed. And this is the oil of Spike Lavender amber bottle. So I received oil of Spike Lavender 8 ounces, and he included the optional amber bottle as well. I have the same size that I've been using in my studio, and I have it in this amber bottle as well. And I think we have one more product in here. And this is the bio-based Artist Rinse and Thinner. This is great for rinsing brushes in between colors. This contains no naphtha, turpentine, odorless mineral spirits, or OMS, and it's USDA BioPreferred certified. So they sent me a 16-ounce container of this. Up in the studio right now, I have the workshop size, which I believe is either 64 or 128 ounces, and that's the size to buy if you're going to be doing a lot of painting like I am. So this is the BioBase Artist Thinner. This is great for the initial canvas sketch and for cleaning paintbrushes and other painting supplies. Like sometimes I have to use it to clean my palette knife. It's great for dissolving oils that are in paints, and it has a high KB rating, and that rating tests how good of a job it does at diluting and cleaning up oils. It's a true thinner. This stuff will also work well to bring old brushes back to life, brushes where the paint has dried into the bristles. And this is a comment from the owner of Art Treehouse. One of the most frequent questions I receive about painting has to do with the drying rate. It is important to understand that oil paint dries by oxidation, not by evaporation. Sometimes people slop large amounts of odorless mineral spirit onto the canvas, and since it evaporates so rapidly, they believe the oil is drying fast. However, they are too often left with thinned out oil and a diminished paint film. That's the thing. You use a ton of odorless mineral spirits with your paint, you're creating a very thin layer of paint. It's better to use a thick layer of paint for longevity purposes. Of course, oil paint that is painted moderately thicker will last centuries longer than one that is painted very thinly. And so I just want to thank Robert for sending over these couple of supplies to me. I've been in touch with him for the last 4 years, and he has helped me make my transition into a solvent-free painting practice. In a coming video, I'm going to be creating a imprimatura painting using these products. And the next time I do an order from Robert at Art Treehouse, I'm also going to order some of his painting medium. There's a painter, William Martin, that I know from the forum Wet Canvas, who has worked with Robert to create his own personal painting medium as well. And so I think I'll order some of the mediums from Art Treehouse next and try those out as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that next video where I'm putting these materials to the test. But to be honest with you, if you watched any of my videos over the past 4 years, you've seen these tools in use. I normally use this product for creating my initial sketch, and I clean my brushes with this product. You can use this product to create the initial sketch, and I often do, but oil of Spike Lavender is the stuff you want to use because it acts like turpentine, and it's the stuff that you want to be using to keep yourself healthy and to keep your family healthy. So I've been painting a lot in the studio, and I no longer have to leave my solvents in the other room or outside. I can just have it an open container. These are game-changing products. For me, I truly believe that these are going to be adding years to my life, and that means more paintings to come, means more time spent with my family. So thanks so much for being here, and thanks again to Robert for supplying these natural art products for me. One last thing, if you do want to try this out, Robert runs his company a lot like I run my company, and it's that we don't discount our products. I've never discounted the price of my paintings. It's just if the quality is there, you don't have to discount the price in order to make a sale. However, Robert has agreed to a small discount code for viewers of this video. You can check out the link in the description. So thanks for watching to the end, and we'll do this again soon.